You're listening to Career Compass with Patrick and Cha-Cha on Base 101.1 FM.
Good morning. I've got the almighty HR in the studio, Patrick in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. You know, I will not talk until I hear my applause.
I know.
Thank you.
I know.
Good morning. Good morning. How's the weekend?
It was good, enjoyable, but you know, I'm dealing with, I don't know what's going on with my vocals, so I can't really talk for long. I've been struggling since 6, but we move. I think by tomorrow we'll be all right.
I think the topic may help you, because we're talking about quiet.
Well,
yes, quiet influence.
Lagos, we're talking about a situation that happens in the office. So most recently, I had the opportunity to speak with someone who owns a hiring company, a hiring firm. And, she's a part owner. She was telling me about how they've hired some people and how some people, get to work in certain places, but they ask questions, or rather during meetings, they don't present what it is that they did. So they're just quiet. They're just looking. They're just not saying anything. People are bringing out, I did this, I did that. Now, ideally, I feel like when you're in an office environment, you should be able to speak about your achievements, or if you have something you've done, talk about it. Some people will feel like, you're doing too much because you're talking, while some people have a certain type of steez around them, which is like a silent or, quiet influence. Now, I'm wondering, in today's competitive workspace, we do know that visibility often feels like the louder it is, the better it is.
Yeah.
But not everyone thrives in spotlights.
Yeah.
Now, how can we deal with this? Do you believe people should be loud in the office, or people should just be silent and move?
So, I mean, it's a dilemma. We are in the Sorosuke generation where, the people that get noticed are the people who speak the loudest. In fact, one day I was talking to an MD in a company, and he said, if you want something, it's often those who cry the loudest that get what they want. He said that as a joke, but really, in the corporate world we live in, I think we need, and that would be the core of today's conversation. We need to separate noise from influence.
Right.
And that's what we'll try to dissect today, to differentiate between visibility, noise, and true influence.
Now, for someone who identifies as more introverted or simply prefers a less boisterous approach, what are some practical strategies that this person can start implementing to basically build their quiet influence at work? Because some people are shy.
Yep.
They don't know that shyness is stopping you from actually shining at work. You feel my rhyme.
Okay, now should I fire this shot? No, okay, let me just fire one. Like someone like Cha-Cha now, you have to notice her. There's no quiet influence with Cha-Cha. Cha-Cha enters the room. From outside the gate, from the reception, you start hearing Cha-Cha's voice.
From the gate.
From the gate, you've started hearing Cha-Cha's voice. Her influence, she in fact, she's definition of Sorosuke. So, for those of us that are not like Cha-Cha,
please
that have
help.
Bedroom voice, introverts like us, like me, how do we cultivate influence without necessarily being blessed with a boisterous personality, like Cha-Cha has? And I'd say the first thing is quiet influencers, right, are exceptional listeners. Okay, so they tend to absorb information, right? They tend to listen to what you're saying and listen to what you're not saying. All right. Have you ever dated someone who's quiet before?
Have I? No.
So, just from the moment you say hello, they're like, what's wrong? They because they're quiet, their power of observation is amplified.
Right.
Because, it's difficult to speak and engage and observe and listen at the same time. All right. So, they could pick things that other people will miss. All right. And this allows them to have more insightful contribution. I'm not saying those who are loud, their contributions are not insightful.
Right.
But, there's that certain level of depth depth to their contribution. Secondly, look, and they say sometimes is the no shots to Chacha, but sometimes they say it's the empty barrel that makes the loudest noise. Okay, no jab at Chacha at this time, but seriously,
I know
if you are an expert in your domain, okay, your actions will speak louder than your words.
Right.
All right. Your competence would be your influence, your tool of influence, rather than being loud or being boisterous and all of that. And then finally, I mean, yes, you may not have that extrovertish personality, but you can pick your moments, all right? Pick your moments strategically, right? Don't have to dominate every single conversation, but you wait for the opportune moments where you can speak. And when you do speak, be concise, focus on adding value, and with some well-placed words, those few well-placed words can often carry a lot more weight than constant chatter.
Right. We're talking about office environment. Do you be loud or do you hush about your achievements? Do you have the quiet influence or do you have the loud dominating one? What about networking? Is it, it often feels like a loud, crowded event. How can a quiet individual effectively network and build connections without feeling overwhelmed or inauthentic? This is Base 101.1 FM. I've got Pato. Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
All right. So, I mean, networking is very important. So, irrespective of your personality, you must master the art of networking. Okay.
Right.
Now, I mean, for those who are the typical life of the party type of personality, where you enter the room, you light up the room, everybody knows you're in there, and you can easily walk the room, right? You come in, you're high-fiving everybody, you have the persona to carry that kind of steez. But if you are, on the other hand, you're introverted, your approach to networking will be different. You will not be able to walk the room. All right. So rather than trying to walk the room, you should focus on building deep, meaningful connections. So I would suggest you focus on quality over quantity, because I can relate to this, because I am a very introverted person. All right. So when I go for conferences, events, I am not the kind of person who would go from table to table, meeting people, talking, chatting them up, asking for business cards. I really don't know how to do that. But, and this has always worked for me. I may not leave such networking events with more than maybe 2 or 3 contacts, but those 2 or 3 contacts will be deep contacts. These are people that I would have deep conversations with, get to know, like really get to know, and have like I said, a deep conversation, deep connection with them. Then leverage one-on-one. Since you can't walk the room, you don't have the steez to keep the attention of a crowd. All right, you can do your networking on a one-on-one basis. Okay, I'd say the most important tool for networking is a genuine curiosity. Hi, what's your name? Oh, your skin looks beautiful. What? Genuine curiosity would, make people warm up to you. And I think the most important, most important or second most important is your follow-up. All right. So, you may break the ice at that networking event, but to really get people to warm up to you, you have to do thoughtful follow-up, like, follow-up email, follow-up WhatsApp. It was great meeting you. Had a lovely conversation. Looking forward to, discussing further on XYZ things that we touched on. Maybe we could do coffee sometime, or do lunch. Those kind of follow-ups will really bed the conversations.
We were talking off air about how, some people are loud and they're not doing anything, while some people are loud and they're showing walking.
Yeah.
Now, for someone who is trying to build, to build a quiet influence type of lifestyle, what role do you think demonstrating competence and consistency play in this?
All right. So if you're a quiet influencer, like I said earlier on, that look, actions speak louder than words. Okay. So you can build that confidence through consistent high performance, all right? Being reliable, paying attention to detail, and using that to build the kind of reputation you want to be known for. All right, so you don't need to like you said off air, it's not by cho
no be
cho na true workings. So you build your influence through workings, not cho. All right, then when you at that point, when you've built that reputation, you've shown your workings, when you do decide to speak or share your opinion, guess what? It will carry more weight.
True.
People will take your words seriously. In fact, without your small voice, when you start talking, everybody else keeps quiet
like, hold
to
on,
listen.
Hold on, something's about to
he's
drop.
about to say something. Let's wait.
But there's something about getting noticed or being out there. Some people know that they need to. They know that they have to do it. Now, they're just thinking, why do I need to do it? That's not my type of person. This is not a natural thing for me. But what advice do you have for people who might feel pressure to be more outgoing instead of just being chilled as they usually are?
So the first thing, I'll say two things. The first thing is, look, be yourself, all right? Authenticity is your true strength. Being authentic to who you are. Don't try to copy somebody else's style, all right? You are an introvert. Be the introvert you are, right? But so first thing, just resist that urge to not be who you are, and then in the purpose of, in the same vein of being yourself, lean in your strengths. So my voice, I have a natural bedroom voice, okay? So I don't have a loud voice, okay? So rather than trying to if I try to shout, I'll crack my voice immediately, right? So, but I have my strengths. If your strength is you're a good listener, listen, all right? Pick things, observe. If you sometimes some quiet people are deep thinkers or overthinkers, okay? So when you do analyze things in depth, by the time you contribute, your contributions will be quite insightful. So that's my take on that.
Now, some people just think that all they need to do to be noticed in an office environment is to speak. When there's a meeting, you have to speak out, you have to talk, you have to share your ideas. Now, some people are not really built for that. I mean, sometimes it takes training, sometimes it just takes like a normal person's character.
Yeah.
But how can quiet individuals make sure that their ideas are not only heard but truly embraced and acted upon by others? Because some people are even too timid. When they speak, they don't speak in authority.
Yeah.
And what they're saying is correct.
Yeah. So you're quite right. I mean, even from a HR perspective, I don't think it's as common, as popular as it is now, but back in the day we used to do group interviews, right? Where you have like 100 people to interview in one day. And instead of interviewing everybody one by one, you could bunch them up into groups of 10, and then you, at that point, sometimes the temptation is because those who are talking will quickly get noticed, right? So rather, I would say, look, your best strength is your preparation,
right?
Okay, do your homework, okay, get your data, all right, think through whatever your communication you want to share. Okay, don't just when you present your idea, make sure you've thought it through end to end. Okay, you're anticipating arguments, you're anticipating divergent opinions, and then you're presenting something that you've thought through from beginning to end. Okay, and when you are presenting ideas, do not present problems but present solutions.
Right.
Don't just say, oh, there's a problem with ABC. Everybody can talk about problems.
True.
But people listen to those who are presenting solutions. And then you want to sell an idea, all right? Master the art of fellowship before fellowship. Okay. So who are the real decision makers? All right. Make sure they're not hearing your idea for the first time in public meetings.
Right.
So you advocate. It's called advocacy. You advocate, you push your ideas, you get their feedback, get their contribution. So when you are sharing the idea publicly, they're already on the same page with you and you don't need to talk too much.
We do know that a lot of people struggle and people are trying their best in the office environment, especially people who are not really outspoken. To be honest, even in this hour, establishment, I've spoken to so many people, some people even inside the studio. I've told them, why did you talk? Why did you say it? You know, sometimes I've had to even say stuff for them because it's like, let's just leave it at that. I don't believe in that. I feel like if there's anything you need stressing you out or anything that is supposed to make your job easier, you should be able to speak out. Now, some people try to speak out, and the next thing, another loudmouth is talking over them. Now, how, you know, can somebody help themselves if someone else is louder than them and the person tries to overshadow them?
All right, so like you said, it's office environment. Okay, so if you find out that you're trying to contribute, but you have maybe louder voices, you know, shouting you down, maybe at that point you should try documenting your opinions and conversations, since Jisha can't shout on you via email. No voice can be louder than yours via email. So start documenting your contributions clearly. All right, so if you were in a meeting and you wanted to speak and they kept shouting you down, after the meeting, you know what, document your contribution, send it to your line manager. All right, so on the record, you know, this idea was yours. Because the tendency is that sometimes those louder voices will pick on your idea and, you know, plagiarize your idea and present it like it's their own original thoughts. You know, so I've seen many. Okay, I'm introverted, so many times, sometimes I've had some of my original ideas being plagiarized or presented like they are somebody else's original idea, and I'm like, hey, hello,
I did that.
It was me.
You know,
especially, right? I'll just move. You know, there are some people who like to work behind the scenes, and there are some people who hog the spotlight, and they take when the job is done, they take the bow, they take all the glory, and forgetting all those that worked behind the scenes. You know, so yeah, sometimes if you're behind the scenes, look, document it for the record, right? It was me.
Right.
This was me.
Just so we know.
Just so we know, for the record, this was on me, right? Again, it would not hurt to have strategic allies, have a voice, you know, that can
back you up.
Yeah, that can back you up. A voice is a recognizable voice. That's, I don't want, it's not your mentor, a sponsor, you know, that can speak for you in rooms where your voice cannot be heard.
You know, I've had situations here again where I've heard certain things around, and I want to bring it up. I've been in a situation, believe it or not, where someone took my idea and ran it as theirs, and that didn't pay me. So now
they pay.
I'm because of that pain, and I know that I'm very vocal, especially, you know, with friends and office environments.
Yeah,
I've managed, because I have a good heart. I've said, if someone tells me, oh, this is whenever I mention it, I'll say, this was this person's idea. And some people don't do. Yes, I'll say, this person mentioned that we should try this and that, because that person will not talk. And I need to bring it out of their mouth. But some people, I just, you know, just decide that they want to just chill and not do anything. Now, we also have some quiet individuals that feel like even when they talk, it's still not changing anything. They feel like some people is, I don't know if it's self-doubt or if there's an imposter syndrome that's happening with them. They still don't recognize that their influence is growing. Since we do know that this influence we're talking about is not because you want applause or an overt recognition. How can a quiet person measure how well the voice is growing?
Exactly. So one of the first things you will notice if your level of influence is growing is when people start seeking out your opinion. Oh, Chacha, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? You know, if they specifically come to you for your insights, your advice, or to solve a problem,
right?
You are now the go-to person. Chacha, there's a problem in the studio. It's not your shift, right? Your shift is long gone. There's a problem in the afternoon, midday, or night shift, and then it's your number they are calling. Oh, Chacha, what do we do? This and that. That means you are quietly becoming more influential, okay? Where your ideas are adopted and implemented. So you gave a suggestion. I think we should do it, you know, this way, and then, you know, they take your idea, right? And then I mentioned you become the go-to person. the shifts are not always overt. They're subtle, all right? People tend to align with your perspectives, all those voices that used to shout you down, they start reducing, and then you can see the impacts of your contributions. Like I said, really, at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words. So you can measure your influence and impact by the, you can measure it by the impact you're making.
The way people are even acting towards you. Now, for someone who is listening, who might still be doubting their ability, which I don't know why you're still doing that. They're doubting the ability to make an impact because they're not the loudest in the room. What message of encouragement you say to that person so that they can use their own body?
So your quiet strength is your superpower, okay? We live in a world of noise, so if you have clarity and thoughtful contributions, they will shine, those who are just doing cho up and down. All right, true influence is not about being loud, okay? It's about making an impact. So rather than, you have many people who can talk the talk, but few people who can walk the talk. All right. So, and for me, I'm HR. I've seen, interviews where the candidates would say they can turn water into wine, they can raise the dead, they can walk on water. All that one is talk. When the rubber hits the road, are they really able to deliver? So focus on making an impact, not making a speech. All right. Then embrace your own unique. Look, everybody is different. And I think you should understand your strengths. Everybody can be influential and impactful, but you need to work with your strengths. If somebody else is blessed with a loud voice, that's their strength. You're not blessed with a loud voice. Find out what works for you,
right,
and stick to your own strengths. That's my final word.
You're listening to Career Compass with Patrick and Cha-Cha on Base 101.1 FM.